Third and 4. And a pass to the end zone. Caught! Touchdown 49ers post pattern Vernon Davis.
From Los Angeles, here is Jeff Chedia.
All right, welcome back. My guest is a tight end entering his third season in San Francisco. He's had over 500 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns last season. Vernon Davis joins me. Vernon, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man.
Let me start with just the way you've been playing. You had 20 catches as a rookie. You had 52 last year. What can people expect from you in your third season now in the NFL?
Well, you expect Vernon to just come out and have an explosive year. You know, we got a Mike Martz on hand. You know, he's a great quarterback. I actually love this guy. You know, he does a good job as far as getting his playmakers the ball.
Let me ask you, I know Mike Martz coming in there, his first year as offensive coordinator, huge reputation for building explosive offenses, but he's never really used the tight end as the centerpiece of the offense, and I know he loves your skills. How is he going to use you this season?
Oh, well, he told me when Mike Martz, he first came aboard, he told me that he'll use me all over the place. He'll use me out wide, in the slot, you know, in the backfield, pretty much wherever he wants me. You know, and I'm willing to step up and handle the job.
Yeah. Well, how's that playbook looking? I know it's going to be. I know this is the third offensive coordinator you've had in 3 years. How different is it going to be for you?
You know what? It's not so much that the playbook is hard. You know, the only thing is people think that the playbook's hard. You know, it's not. You know, it is. You know, it's. You got it. There's a lot of work as far as like learning the playbook, but you can make it as easy as possible. You know, if you study the playbook and just rehearse it, go over everything, you can make it as easy as you want.
Well, I know you've also been studying tapes of the St. Louis Rams and the Detroit Lions, 2 places that Mike Martz was at earlier in his career. How much has that helped you with this transition?
No, it helped me a lot. It really did. You know, going over everything, what Mike Martz told me, then taking it and looking at the guys that he coached in the previous years, it's really helped me to understand on how to run the routes and, how to get open, just pretty much understand the game of football.
Yeah. Now, I know when you came out of college, people were raving about your size, the 4.4 speed, but you've had some tough breaks there, some injuries. A couple years ago, you missed 6 games. Last year, you missed 2 games. And I read a comment where you said you're just starting to feel comfortable now in the NFL, that you feel like you're a veteran now. Why are you feeling that way this season?
I feel like I'm a veteran because I'm expected to do a lot. I'm expected to be a leader. I'm expected to carry my team by making plays. And that's what they brought me along for, to make plays, and that's what I do. I make plays. I don't really look at myself as a tight end. I look at myself as a playmaker. I've never looked at myself as a tight end. I always looked at myself as a playmaker. And that's why I feel like I'm a leader, because I work hard. I'm a hard worker, and I get the job done.
Yeah. Let me ask you, I know the 49ers have had some tough times the last 4 years. Last season they went 5-11. Why should people think this year is going to be the year you guys turn it around?
Well, you know what? This is the year that we will turn it around. I say that because, we have a lot of talent, we have a lot of potential, and we have a great coaching staff. Since Mike Martz has came along, a lot of things has changed. The play calling has changed. Guys are getting open. Alex Smith and Sean Hill, they're getting the guys the ball. Just a lot of good things has changed, and our team is growing. We're definitely growing.
So how much is Mike Martz responsible for those changes then?
He's, Mike Martz pretty much, came in and brought, his knowledge and, what he knows, and he brought it to us. He really stepped in and, he put a handful in. He really did. And, he knows how to work with guys. Everything he does, he walks you through it. He'll bring you back and tell you this is exactly how he wants it. That's why I said before, it's not really that the playbook, it's just that everything is so precise. He wants everything to be so precise, which is a good thing, and that's how it's got to be.
You mentioned Alex Smith, and he's had some tough times last year. He had the injury and the rift with head coach Mike Nolan. How has he been handling this offseason as he fights to keep his job?
Oh, he's one of the strongest guys, but one of the strongest quarterbacks I've ever met in my life. You know, he handles criticism really well. You know, he just takes one day. He's one of those guys that just takes one day, you know, one day at a time. You know, he don't let anything bother him, and that's what I like about Alex. You know, he's a very strong-minded guy.
Well, how much did that rift between him and Nolan affect the team last season?
Well, it was, you know, you always got he say, she say, and, you know, the media, they always try to, you know, sometimes they try to stir things up and, you know, cause problems between a coach and a player. Mm-hmm. But, you know, it really didn't affect you know, the Coach Mike Nolan came to everybody, and he talked with us, and he said everything, we have nothing to worry about. Just keep playing, you know, keep pushing your teammates, and keep pushing one another, and just going from there. Everything is all right between him and Alex, and that's what he told us.
Well, I want to transition now into an event you have going on this weekend. Can you tell me a little bit about what's going to be going on?
Well, right now behind me, you see me at my high school that I went to, Dunbar Senior High School. I'm having a camp out here, and next, coming up after the kids eat, we'll have a celebrity flag football game, and that's what you see.
I know there's a party involved too, right? From what I've been told. Can you tell me about that?
Party for a purpose. Yes, there is. There's a party tonight at a nearby club called Love. You know, we got all the celebrities coming through, and you know, a lot of sponsors. And then after that, we have a bowling event tomorrow. You know, which celebrities get a chance to buy lanes, and the money from that will go to drug rehabilitation. You know, that's one of the things that I'm very big on, helping, you know, people with bad drug habits get better.
Mm-hmm. Well, hey, it sounds like you're going to have a great weekend, and I hope you have a great season. Vernon, thanks so much for joining me.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
All right. Thanks a lot. Next on the forum, a bad week gets worse for Rampage Jackson. How much does this hurt the UFC's image? We'll hit that topic and more when we come back.